Anyways, let me get to number 2. The number 2 worst is Hall Monitor. And here's the other Miss Puff episode I was talking about. If you thought boating school is bad, wait till you see this episode. So, not only is this the episode where Mrs. Puff knows that SpongeBob's just gonna do something bad if he was Hall Monitor, but she even tries to prevent all the situations, right? She's the only good character in the episode, other than Patrick later on, but we'll get to him in a bit. So Mrs. Puff, at first, when she notices that SpongeBob's the only one who hasn't been Hall Monitor, she tries to get other people to do it, and even though they already know by now that SpongeBob being Hall Monitor is a dumb idea, as one of his classmates in boating school even said that he doubted that SpongeBob would get his license. So it's clearly shown that the classmates know that SpongeBob is not the sharpest tool in the shed. Or sharpest kitchen utensil by the sink. Like, he is... Anyways, so Mrs. Puff, she fails to get someone else to do it, and then when SpongeBob has to do it, she tries to make him hurry up and take the title so he can go patrol the halls. And then he ruins everyone's time with the speech, and ruins everything for himself. And then Mrs. Puff is nice enough to even give him the Hall Monitor outfit, despite his class being over. And then that gets SpongeBob to go ahead and destroy half of the fucking town. And while he's doing that, it's not fun. It doesn't show SpongeBob as a curious boy who doesn't know what he's doing. They portray it in a way where it's all his fault. Because he's the motherfucker who was wasting everyone's time on purpose over a stupid speech, and then guilt tripped Mrs. Puff into giving him the outfit. Instead of having an episode where he patrols the halls and screws everything up, and then destroys the building, which would have been a lot better, and then portray it in a way where Mrs. Puff is the one who's at fault, and then have her go to jail. They have him not patrol the halls, have him be shown as the bad person, have him destroy half the town, have Patrick get involved in a way where I actually do like Patrick in the episode. He's honestly the only good part of it, other than Mrs. Puff trying to prevent all of this. And then the episode just ends with Mrs. Puff showing up out of nowhere, going to jail for SpongeBob's doings, and starts the whole trend of Mrs. Puff going to jail for SpongeBob's actions. Thanks a fucking bunch, Hall Monitor. Yeah. And people like this shit. Fuck off. You guys make no sense. You like this shit, but you don't like other Mrs. Puff episodes where SpongeBob gets Mrs. Puff in jail. Okay, let's get to number 1, which fortunately is not an unpopular opinion. Number 1 is I Was a Teenage Gary. Thank goodness. Phew, there wasn't any episode worse than this. Because this episode is so bad. You want to know who my favorite characters are in the show? Squidward, Gary, and Mr. Krabs. And fortunately, Mr. Krabs wasn't in this episode to get ruined. But I'll tell you who was in this episode. Gary and Squidward. And you know what they do with those two characters? They have Squidward be the person who has to take care of Gary. He completely forgets about him, has Gary nearly starved to death, and then Squidward afterwards is shown to be caring for Gary, so he's trying to feed him and do all these things for him. He helped call the ambulance for Gary and tried helping him with the snail plasma. It doesn't even portray it in a way where he's all that bad of a person, really. And then it turns out all Gary needed was water. You starve for 3 days and the only thing that you need is water. When you're already underwater. Like, normally they don't really care about... I don't really care about water logic and stuff when it comes to SpongeBob, but here it's just so frustrating. And then SpongeBob is the one who has to suffer the whole time getting turned into a snail and torturing Squidward for some odd reason. Like, none of the things make sense in this episode either, other than those things that I already mentioned. And then Squidward has to suffer and get turned to a snail as well. And the entire cast is just pretty much getting tortured throughout the whole thing. With the only character who doesn't is Patrick, and his little role saves the episode a little bit. So I guess that's good. But for the rest, no way. Anyways, this video is actually getting a little bit long, so I'm going to have to do another part where I do the 5 best episodes. Also, because of this episode, we didn't get a half-hour Skater Parents episode. We had to wait 18 years to finally get a Halloween half-hour special. Yeah, we got Ghoul Fools before then, but that wasn't really Halloween-based because they weren't really doing anything to celebrate Halloween in the episode. But again, we had to wait 18 years. Anyways, I'll see you guys when I do the top 5 best.